Welcome to another episode of Hair Biz Radio with your hosts Zakiyrah and
Mikey.
And we talked about getting a new intro, but then Mikey thought about he kind of likes the
I like the
regular, simple. Yeah.
We talked about it. Maybe we'll throw one in.
Let us know in the comments. Like, do y'all want to hear some music, or y'all kind of like just the intro that we have going on?
Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Well,
then you're gonna skew their answer. But go ahead.
But maybe we'll go through the same thing. So here's the deal. I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I know some podcasts have this like 30-second intro, and I'm like, look, I need meat and potatoes now. I need on. And I'm just like, 30-second skip, the podcast plays. Okay, let's go. Like, do people like that? We just jump right in. There's no fluff.
Yeah, no fluff. That is a good point. Or we could do a 10-second music situation.
Okay. Zakiyrah just wants some music.
Either way, the podcast is still happening, okay? Y'all have kind of been showing out on our Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. So we appreciate you guys for sharing, for liking, for commenting. And yeah, we're just going to keep going. So today we are talking about inventory. I think that it's so important to discuss inventory because sometimes people get into business and they just start buying products. They just start buying stuff that nobody said they wanted. And then now they're stuck with inventory. They're stuck with inventory and they're sitting on thousands of dollars that they could have invested back into the business or have in their pockets. So we want to break down what inventory means and looks like for you and your hair business, what types of products you should keep in your inventory, and when you're just getting started with your business, should you even have inventory on hand? So we're going to dive into that. So hopefully by the end of this podcast, you will have a better understanding if maybe you're just starting out, kind of what products or type of inventory you should have. And then if you've been going for a while already, we can add some value to what you're already doing.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of numbers that we have to go over today for inventory. There is holding inventory cost. A lot of people don't think about that. There's the delivered cost of inventory and go into those calculations. I think that's really important.
I don't think people realize the delivered cost is different because you can be paying an arm and a leg for shipping, and then you need to calculate that into per bundle that you're
Absolutely. It happens all the time. People are like, oh, well, look at this pricing. It looks so good. I'm like, did you add the shipping in there? No, they didn't.
Right.
So going over that, maybe your first wholesale order as far as what you need to stock, right? And maybe even get into inventory management a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So just starting off with the hair brand, we talk a lot, maybe a few episodes if you go back in the podcast, but we talk about drop shipping as well. So if you're just starting off with your hair business, we're not saying do not purchase inventory or have inventory on hand. That's not what we're saying at all. What we're saying is that you can diversify what it is that you're selling so that you don't have to invest a ton of money on hair extensions or hair products at the beginning of your business. So one good thing that you can utilize is drop shipping, which allows you to not have to hold inventory on hand, or at least a lot of inventory on hand. So as people are purchasing your products online, they're being shipped from another warehouse and you are paying per order. So you're not paying upfront costs, you're paying once people actually place the order, then you pay for those specific items. Drop shipping is really great for anyone who's just starting off with business, and also people who have high volumes of business and they want to outsource or not necessarily hold a ton of inventory in their location or in their store. So drop shipping works for it, whether you're on the beginning end, the middle end, or if you've been in business for 5, 10 plus years. The great thing about drop shipping is that you can add and sell anything that you want. Anything that your drop shipper offers, you can offer on your website store. That's the great thing about drop shipping.
Yeah. And if you need drop shipping, obviously check out Dropship Beauty, the app on Shopify. Makes drop shipping real easy. Yeah, there's pros and cons. You're going to pay a little bit more per order with drop shipping.
Yes.
But you also have to factor in a lot of the other costs that you're not necessarily paying for as a drop shipper, right? And one of those we can just jump right in is holding cost of inventory. So a lot of people don't think about the holding cost of inventory. They're like, Mikey, what are you talking about holding costs? It's already here. your inventory sitting there has a value. Okay. Let's just say private label. We have $1 million of inventory sitting in our warehouse, right? If you have $1 million inventory, if that was converted to cash, and let's just say today in a very safe, high yield checking account, you're going to earn 5% a year on that. So that 5% of $1 million would be $50,000 a year just in interest, about $4,000 a month you could be making just on interest on that holding inventory. So you have to think of as much inventory that you have sitting there, and this is why inventory management is so important. You could be earning a yield on that money.
Yeah.
Now, some people don't think 5% is a lot. Trust me, it adds up. It adds up fast.
Definitely. Yeah. Was that a con or was that a pro? Or it was just a fact?
That's just a fact. That's why it's like drop shipping. If you don't drop ship and holding cost of inventory. So the pros and cons of drop shipping, one of them is you don't have to have that holding cost of inventory. Right. Now the con could be you are paying a little bit more per order.
Yes, which is expected because
it's small orders.
Yeah,
right?
smaller orders, convenience. You're paying for the convenience as well because you don't necessarily have to get up, go pack the order, go ship the order, go take the order to USPS or UPS or FedEx or whoever you use, and then you don't have to get the tracking number, go back and add it to your thing. Drop shipping literally is convenient. So if you're taking all of those steps out to pay $3 to $5 more on a bundle, it's very convenient.
Yeah. I mean, and you have to think of little things, right? So think about the poly mailers, the shipping labels, the time it takes to unpack and then repack, like unpack a larger order, repack a smaller order.
Yep. Also the cost of the shipping app or the shipping system that you're utilizing.
Ship station or something like that. Those all have costs. You have to think of how all that stuff starts to add up per order, and it does add up.
Definitely.
But, there's definitely pros to holding inventory as you grow your business.
Yes.
There's a hybrid model, which I talk about a lot on the Hair Business Blueprint, is you can inventory your best sellers.
Yep.
And then hybrid model, meaning like you don't have to inventory things that are a little bit slower seller that, you can maybe get through drop shipping.
Yeah. So if you don't know what your best sellers are yet, because maybe you just started business, a great thing to do would be research, do like minimal research and find out what are the most popular hair extensions that people buy. And what we've found over the years is that you can never go wrong with standard body wave hair or straight hair. And you want to have anything from a 14 to a 20, kind of somewhere around that range. And so if you decide, hey, I kind of want to have hair on hand before I start getting orders to see what people would need, because maybe you want to go vend at an event, or maybe you are a hairstylist and you want to have some things in your hair salon or in your salon suites. Those are the types of sizes, lengths, and bundles that you want to be able to carry. So not ordering a whole lot, but maybe you have 10 bundles on hand, and as people buy them, then you replenish them. But you never want to go crazy and buy $50,000 worth of hair and just
not when you haven't sold any.
Not when you haven't sold any. So if you are doing the hybrid model, the body wave, the straight hair within those inches are really great. And then also, if you are a hairstylist, what's amazing is that as people are making their hair appointments and you're letting them know that you have hair on hand, they're making their appointments beforehand. So you can always go to your local wholesale hair shop. Private Label Extensions is right in Atlanta with 4 different locations, and you can go in and grab hair for your clients. So it's not like you have to purchase weeks in advance. So if someone makes a hair appointment 1 week before, you can always say, hey, I'll have your hair ready when you come to the salon. So that's what's great about that. Or you can purchase online if you're not directly in Atlanta. Private Label Extension ships very fast. Like you could, if you're in California, you can get your hair in 2 to 3 days. Yeah. So it's easy. Like you want to make sure, if you do want to have hair on hand, I would say for people who are hairstylists and actually like work in the salon, or you come in contact with people on a consistent daily basis within the hair industry, having some hair on hand wouldn't be a bad idea. Just not a whole heap of inventory that you have to, like Mikey said, hold inventory costs as well.
Yeah, for sure. So you have to think of this too. Once you get the inventory, you have to manage it as far as how many of each I have.
Yes.
Now, if you're using Shopify, you can use Shopify for selling online and you can use Shopify for point of sale. What I do like about Shopify is now it's a basic system, and I'll tell you the pros and cons with this. They have a basic system where you can put your inventory inside Shopify. So that is all your individual bundles, closures, frontals, all the different products you have. It's going to tell you how fast you're selling it in Shopify, which is great. Now, here's the problem for a lot of hair sellers is if you want to sell a bundle deal on your website, a bundle deal, you're going to need a inventory system that is going to create somewhat of a kit. A kit meaning if you have a bundle deal for sale and it's a 10, 12, 14-inch body wave, you have that as almost like a virtual product because you can't inventory a 10, 12, 14-inch body wave as individual bundles and inventory in a bundle deal because then you would be inventorying it twice and your inventory would be off. So what happens with a more advanced and complex inventory system is you sell the 10, 12, 14-inch body wave bundle deal. It'll take one 10-inch, one 12-inch, and one 14-inch of the individual bundles out of the inventory system. And then you'll have a more accurate inventory setup. Now, you could just sell bundles individually, but I'm going to tell you, you're going to be at somewhat of a disadvantage because people just love bundle deals. We sell bundle deals all day at Private Label.
Yeah, and also when people are getting their hair done, you have to think about they're not just using one bundle in their hair unless they just want like some volume in their hair. Majority of the time, if people are getting quick weaves or sew-ins, or if they're doing micro links, the wefted micro links, or any of those hairstyles, they're going to use at least 2 to 3 bundles. So a bundle deal, and most times they'll use 2.5 bundles. So they still need that third bundle. So the bundle deals are fantastic because you're almost forcing people to buy the 3 bundles. Like, hey, why get the singles when we have bundle deals?
Yeah, and then they're also probably going to buy often a closure or frontal. Now, you can use a program in Shopify called Shopify Bundles, and that can help solve the problem of the inventory system. And you can even pair it up with adding a closure. So you can offer on one product page, you can have your bundle deal and then add the closure. That's a little bit more advanced as far as setting that up, but that's definitely something that you can do pretty quickly with Shopify. And that's why we highly recommend Shopify because it's so customizable.
Yeah, and it's very user-friendly.
Very user-friendly, great customer support. No, Shopify does not yet, I said yet, sponsor this podcast, although it makes a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I would absolutely love Shopify as a sponsor. Just as a matter of fact, we have the Shopify award right there. So that's just showing off Shopify every single episode.
Absolutely.
But, yeah. So getting back to the inventory, you have to be somewhat strategic about what you're going to be doing as far as keeping an accurate number. Because if you're in a salon, I know a lot of salon owners and they're like, Mikey, it's crazy. These bundles, they can just walk out of my store when I'm not here.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. Oh,
somebody got sticky fingers.
Somebody got sticky fingers. Yeah. These bundles and they're hot items.
Yeah.
There is high risk.
I think it's also important that you keep track of the inventory because if you're just willy-nilly selling online and people go to purchase hair and you don't have the stock inventory online, but people are expecting their hair to be delivered within 2 to 3 days. Now you have to go and email them like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. We actually don't have this available. And then that can kind of mess up your business relationship with your clients. I've experienced that before with the business where I've ordered a product and later after 3 days of waiting for it, they finally reached out and said, hey, it looks like we're actually out of stock on this item that you ordered. And I'm like, what do you mean? It's been 3 days already. Like, I'm going out of town next week. What do you mean you're out of stock? So I think it's very, very important that you keep up with whatever inventory you have online. That way, what happens is with the programs that Mikey is talking about, whenever you go out of stock, it will not let anyone purchase that item anymore. So you want to make sure that your systems are up to date and in speed with people so that they know that, okay, if I ordered this product, I'm getting it. And of course, things happen and, people may have sticky fingers and you may end up with less inventory, but majority of the time, at least that if this is showing in stock, it's available for people to purchase.
Absolutely. And this can become a huge customer service nightmare if you don't have that set up.
Absolutely.
Because it's going to be, you're going to have to reach out. Maybe they don't email you back right away. Maybe you're trying to change it. Maybe you're out of one 22 inch. So you're going to send them a 24 inch. Is that okay?
Yeah.
There's a lot of finagling you have to do with that. And that gets real inconvenient when your inventory numbers are off.
Absolutely. Because you may not get customers that are as nice as me.
Right. So having depending on your setup, like at Private Label, because we have so many different brands, everything connects. It is very complicated, but we have it figured out. It took about a year to get it really fully set up.
Yeah. I think I remember when the inventory was being done via like Excel sheet or like, paper and pen.
Yeah, that was the days when we first started. I mean, you got to start somewhere.
Definitely.
And it was tough for us because we had, drop shippers and all these other stores and our brand partners. It was very complicated. But, generally, if you're just starting out or even have been in business for a little while, you don't need to worry too much about those. But managing inventory is going to be an absolute key for the success of your hair business.
Yeah, definitely. What about for businesses that are not so new, but they have brick and mortars and they're looking to expand? Maybe they just have one store right now. How do they identify or know what inventory they should keep in store? So generally within Shopify, or if you have an inventory system, you can run different reports. That's going to give you a little bit more data and feedback about your products. So if you have a bunch of loose wave 150 density wigs and you run a report and it says a lot of times it's called a dead stock report, and you run that dead stock report and you sold one of that category in 90 days and you're holding 5 of each, you need to just put those things on sale and just stock one of each. Yeah.
One of each. And then if you want to continue even selling it. So that's something that we look at here at Private Label as products become more popular and then less popular. For example, lace wigs this year in 2024 have become less popular than, say, our 5x5 glueless wigs.
The glueless wigs they're going.
The glueless wigs are beautiful.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that we look at. So we have less inventory of the lace front wigs. We're getting more of the glueless wigs. We're even bringing in 6x6 and 7x7 closures, HD closures, because that's a compromise between someone wearing the frontal and then they see a closure and it's so small if you're used to using a frontal.
Yeah.
So having that 6-inch and 7-inch and being able to do the deep part makes a huge difference. And it's a nice compromise for people. So those are the kind of things when you're managing inventory, getting feedback. The 4x4 closures are not as popular right now. So you have to start lightening the load of inventory.
Yeah.
Don't order as much. And those are the kind of things you really, really need to stay abreast of.
Yeah. And just like the debt reports, you can also go back and look to see what is selling like hotcakes so that you can stock up more on those things. Like, i.e., we talked about the individual bundles. The bundle deals, I feel like, will never go out of style, no matter what curl pattern they are. Well, at least the body wave and straight hair, because you can always curl those. And then some of the other ones that sell fairly decent, kinky curly, would you say?
Kinky curly, deep wave. Deep wave's probably number 3.
Wave,
so body wave's number 1, straight number 2, deep wave number 3. Unless you have a brand that's specifically for, say, quote unquote, natural hair.
Right.
And that's going to get into the 4Cs, 3Bs, those kind of textures. Other than that, it's always going to be body wave, straight, then deep wave, maybe loose wave or kinky curly next. And it also depends on what you're marketing heavy.
Absolutely, because some brands only do raw hair. Some brands will do, it just depends on what your business model is and who your target client is, definitely.
Yeah, and then you have to look at, there's virgin hair, there's raw hair, there's closures and frontals.
Yeah.
And then at some point you have to pick and choose, especially if you want to inventory hair and start out. You're not going to be able to carry everything.
Yeah.
So focus on the most popular items first that you can have in stock. And that's always tough as well. It's kind of like what comes before the chicken or the egg.
Right.
Right? Because you want to stock stuff, but you don't really know what your customers want. maybe you bought all this HD lace and then you have more price conscious customers.
Yeah.
And they're like, can I get transparent lace because it's cheaper and more durable? Those are the kind of tough questions that you're going to have to ask yourself. And it's just part of business.
Yeah. And when it comes down to the products that you carry, things are going to go in and out of season so much. I would recommend personally stocking like we talked about, the most popular curl patterns that people utilize, and then stock maybe a couple of like the wigs and a couple of the HD lace and transparent lace and see how they sell first. And then if you have those sell like hotcakes, then that tells you, okay, we need to order more of these. And then you can also do special order items too. I don't know how good that would work for every business, because then you kind of get into, 20 people want a special ordered item and now you're specially ordering all these items.
Well, you got to figure that out.
Yeah.
One thing with getting into the wigs that we're doing more of now is, before we'd always carry every length.
Yeah.
So 10, 12, 14, 16, it's just a lot. So now, even say with our glueless wigs, we have 16-inch and 22-inch. Now we can special order and custom make a different size for you, which is great.
Yeah.
But in stock, 16 to 22.
And those are kind of like either you want a natural look or you want something that's long.
A little longer,
Yeah.
still, because once you get up to 24 and 26-inch, the raw material cost for hair starts going up exponentially. So it does get a lot more expensive. We're in a slower economic time, so people aren't spending as much on 24, 26, 28, 30-inch hair, not as much. People are still buying it, but not near as much. So why would we make the wigs for it when we would say, hey, we'll make it for you. It's going to be here in a week.
Yeah, that's true. So when it comes down to inventory, it's a matter of what type of business you have. What are you looking to accomplish? What type of clients do you have? What type of hair extensions are you selling? And what is your business model? Are you completely online? Are you brick and mortar? Are you a hairstylist and you have a hair salon or a salon suites? It's really going to depend. But these are all tips and tools and resources that you can utilize to build your inventory business, and also determine if you're going to do a hybrid model, if you're going to do drop shipping, or what that looks like for you. But we do highly recommend, do not go blow all of your money on inventory without knowing exactly the type of inventory that you need to hold.
Yeah. And just getting into one thing I said in the beginning that I was going to talk a little bit about is delivered cost. So like a quick calculation for delivered cost. A lot of people look at the price sheets that a vendor will sell them, but then they don't calculate how much it costs to get it to your warehouse or wherever you're shipping from. So that's really the key. So to make real simple numbers, if you are buying bundles and you buy 50 bundles and it costs you $100 for shipping, okay, you have to add $2 per bundle because you're taking $100 shipping divided by 50 is 2. So add $2. So what you need to do when you're doing a shipping inventory system, it's going to say, what is your cost? You do not add the cost wherever it's shipping from. You add the delivered cost. That's how much it is to your warehouse as your cost. Otherwise, the margins for your business are going to be totally off. You're going to be thinking you're making more money than you are.
Yeah.
And then when you're like, wait a second, something's not right. Or even with pricing, right? If you're running off a certain percentage that you're marking this up, if you're not adding that delivered cost, all your markups are going to be off. So understanding the delivered cost, putting it in place in your business immediately is absolutely key to success.
Absolutely. Look at Mikey, the mathematician. The mathematician.
Mathematician, 100 divided by 50 is 2. Yep, I'm a mathematician now.
Joking.
You got me.
Yeah, so you want to make sure that's really big, because I think people don't realize. They look at, okay, these bundles are only $12 or $20, but then shipping could be $500 on 100 bundles, and now you're looking at an additional, I'm not a mathematician, but maybe $5. Yeah, I was going to say $5 per bundle. And so now your numbers are off. So you have to make sure that you're calculating in those costs too. Absolutely.
It's going to be so important. Otherwise, all your numbers are messed up.
Yeah.
So make sure you do that.
Yeah. And then you don't know what revenue what profit, you don't know what your profits are. And that's important in business.
Very important. Yes.
Yes. So I hope that this episode was very eye-opening and very, what was the word that I was going to use?
Informative.
Yes, very
educational.
Very educational.
Very inspirational.
Yes, that part. And hopefully you take bits and pieces of this and implement that into your own business. And if you have not, go back and listen to all the episodes that we have on Hair Biz Radio. There's a ton of information. There's no fluff in these episodes. A lot of the guests that we bring on, they share knowledge and experience. And then also the episodes that Mikey and I have done, they provide tons of value. So make sure you go back and listen to those episodes, and also join the group that Mikey has created called...
Which one?
The
Hair Business Blueprint?
The Hair Business Blueprint group.
Or Hair Business Masterclass.
The Hair Business Masterclass is the masterclass.
I'll put a link in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll put a link in the show notes, because that's going to be important, especially, it doesn't matter where you are in the business, but if you're just starting off and you need like step-by-step kind of walkthrough, you want to make sure you're in that group. It's an investment, and it's not a large investment, but it's going to allow you to get the services, tools, and resources that you need. So make sure you check that out. Also, like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know who you want to hear from in the comments. We've had some really amazing guests on, so we want to continue to provide that high level of guests that we bring on the podcast. So can't wait to be back with you with another episode. We're out.
Later.